This is a final footnote. Steve Irwin spent his life doing what most people were afraid to do, moving closer. Closer to animals people warned him about, closer to danger people avoided, closer to a world most only saw through glass. He wasn't reckless, he was deliberate. From a young age, Irwin learned that fear and respect were not the same thing, that understanding something was the first step toward protecting it. He spoke to animals the way others spoke to children, with excitement, patience, and awe. And the world listened, not because he was loud, but because he was sincere. For decades, Steve Irwin became the face of conservation for people who had never thought about conservation before. Kids who had never cared about reptiles suddenly knew their names. Adults who feared snakes found themselves rooting for them. He didn't preach. He invited. On September 4th, 2006, Steve Irwin was filming a documentary on the Great Barrier Reef. The plan was simple, routine, a shallow dive, a passing interaction. Another moment meant to educate, not provoke. A stingray passed beneath him. What followed was not an attack in the way people imagine one, but a defensive reflex. A single barb struck his chest. There was no struggle, no chaos. Those with him tried to save him immediately, but the injury was catastrophic. He was pronounced dead shortly after. The animals swam away, and in a way that unsettled many, that mattered to him. Because Steve Irwin never framed nature as the enemy, he had spent his entire life reminding people that wild animals do not act with malice, only instinct. The danger wasn't the stingray. The danger was forgetting what wild means. The world reacted with shock, not just because he died, but because it felt impossible. Here was someone who had faced crocodiles, venomous snakes, and apex predators his entire life. And it ended during a moment that looked ordinary. That detail mattered, because it reminded everyone that expertise doesn't grant immunity, love doesn't create exceptions, and devotion does not rewrite nature's rules. But that wasn't the end of Steve Irwin's work. It wasn't even close. His children grew up inside the mission he built. His wife carried it forward, with the same quiet resolve he admired in animals. The Australia Zoo became more than a destination. It became a continuation. Conservation programs expanded, habitats were protected, species were saved, because a man once made people care enough to listen. Steve Irwin changed the emotional language around wildlife. He made curiosity louder than fear. He made wonder contagious. And most importantly, he made conservation personal. Not abstract, not distant, personal. His legacy isn't found in the way he died. It lives in every child who sees an animal and feels curiosity instead of panic. In every person who understands that respect doesn't mean domination. And in the quiet truth that he accepted long before the rest of us did. That loving the natural world means accepting its danger, its indifference, and its beauty without trying to tame it. Steve Irwin didn't lose a fight with nature. He lived in alignment with it. And that alignment carried risk, but it also carried meaning. The world remembers the khaki shorts, the enthusiasm, the voice full of wonder. What's often forgotten is that he succeeded. People care now, because he cared first. Sometimes the end isn't a warning. Sometimes it's the cost of living exactly as you believed. Just a footnote.